he's sick, he knows. I was on the stairs.
What the hell?
Venturing into the woods alone at night can be terrifying. But what happens when you encounter someone or something you'd rather never meet? Tonight, we're diving into the 6 most disturbing camping encounters ever recorded. These clips will make you think twice about ever stepping into the woods alone again. Let's delve straight into this first disturbing encounter. Meet Mike, the man behind the YouTube channel CreepyVids, where he shares his love for off-grid adventures, spontaneous camping trips, and the freedom of the open road. Most of his videos feature him exploring stunning landscapes across the United States in his trusty, fully equipped camping truck. But in this particular upload, Mike decided to step outside of his comfort zone and try something entirely different. Instead of setting up under the stars or deep in the wilderness, Mike chose to spend the night in an old, outlying, abandoned house he stumbled upon. What initially felt like a fun new twist to his usual camping routine quickly took a turn he totally didn't expect. It's November 1st, 2023, and Mike arrives just before sunset, giving himself enough daylight to scout the property and find a decent place to set up for the night. With his gear in hand and spirits high, he begins exploring the strange, weathered house, completely unaware of the unsettling experience waiting for him later on.
This is kind of what I was planning to stay in, but it looks to no longer exist. So, from what I understand, this house was built in like 1925, and it hasn't been occupied since sometime in the 1980s. So it's been empty, I think, as long as I've been alive. Ugh. So I think right here on the floor is going to be my best spot. It's like the cleanest spot of floor there is, right here. Sleeping in the basement.
The longer Mike explores the creaking rooms of the decaying house, the more a creeping unease starts to settle in. Still, Mike is not planning to back down now. Determined to see his plan through, he picks a room that seems the most intact, clears some space, and sets up his gear. With everything ready, he sits back with a drink, trying to relax and enjoy the novelty of this strange new camping spot before the last light fades. But as night begins to fall and the house is swallowed by darkness, the atmosphere changes. What started as an unusual adventure is beginning to feel like something Mike might come to regret.
Well, why don't we, I'm already hearing things. Why don't we crack a drink open? I got a twisted tea, half and half. Probably have less than an hour of light left, yeah. Courage in a can, I guess. I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm already hearing things. Birds. Whoa. There's something up there. There's definitely something up there. Get! I can hear it walking around, whatever it is, probably a raccoon.
Mike does his best to stay calm. The sudden thudding and walking from upstairs had jolted his nerves, but he steadies his breath and tells himself it has to be an animal, maybe a raccoon or a stray dog passing through. It's an old house, after all, open and broken in so many places. But as he calls out into the darkness, hoping for some kind of reaction, anything that would confirm his theory, there's no response. The movement doesn't stop. No sudden freeze. No shifting noise in the other direction. And that's when it starts to get under his skin. A wild animal would have scurried off. A person would have said something, or at least stopped in their tracks. But whatever this was, it just kept moving.
There's definitely something upstairs right now.
Got our bear spray. I don't have to spray anything, but it's only 9:30, 9:26. I mean, the wind has picked up a bit. So it could be branches clonking against the house, especially up front, because they're like everything is grown right up to the house. But it sounded like there was something walking around right above me. Yeah! I think all the animals that would be around here would know that there's nothing in the house to eat, you know what I mean? Well, I'll check in with you guys in a little bit, I suppose.
At this point, countless thoughts were racing through Mike's head. He decided not to investigate the sound directly. Something about the idea of stepping towards the banging just felt wrong, even for someone as adventurous as him. Still, Mike stayed put, convincing himself it had to be something simple, a raccoon maybe, or the wind finally picking up and rattling some debris around. But then, just as suddenly as the noise had started, everything fell silent again. The banging stopped. The atmosphere, heavy with tension moments before, turned eerily still. And while Mike felt a wave of relief, it came with a lingering confusion. What could have caused sounds that loud, yet disappear without a trace? Trying to ground himself, Mike turned his focus to making food, hoping a warm meal would settle his nerves and distract his mind. Surprisingly, and almost unsettlingly, the rest of the night went by without incident. A few curious animals passed by in the dark, but nothing out of the ordinary. And somehow, Mike even managed to get some sleep. By morning, as light filtered through the cracked windows and birdsong replaced the silence, the unanswered questions were still there. The footsteps, the banging, it just didn't line up with what a small animal would do. Deep down, Mike knew that. But whatever it was, he made it through the night, and that in itself was a win. Say what you want, but it takes serious guts to stay in a place like that after hearing those sounds. Most people would have grabbed their things and bolted the second that first bang echoed through the house. So what do you think? Was it just a raccoon making more noise than usual? Or could there be something else lurking in the shadows of that old house? Something we can't so easily explain? If that first encounter already gave you chills, then brace yourself, because things are only going to get worse from here. It's one thing to hear something strange, but it's a whole other level when you actually see it. Hey everyone, we honestly can't thank you enough. We're beyond excited to announce that we've officially hit 150,000 subscribers. It's all thanks to you. This incredible community makes it all possible. As promised, we're thrilled to reveal the 5 lucky winners who get to choose one of the awesome products below. A limited edition CreepyVids shirt, featuring the iconic CreepyVids logo on the front, bold CreepyVids text on the back, and a subtle 150K milestone tag on the sleeve, making it a true collector's item. If you see your name, just send your pic to creepyvidsco@gmail.com to claim your prize. And if you didn't win this time, don't worry. The 200K giveaway is already in the works, and it's going to be even bigger. Now let's jump into the video. Just as in this next clip, shared on April 21st, 2025, by a Reddit user going by the name Wrestling is Real, which captures a truly unsettling moment he experienced during what was supposed to be a relaxing camping trip with a friend in the Scottish countryside. The trip had been peaceful, just 2 friends enjoying nature, unplugging from the noise of everyday life. But that calm was suddenly interrupted. While out picking up some supplies for their final days, they passed a large, abandoned building. That's when they heard it. A loud, echoing bang coming from somewhere inside. Curiosity, mixed with concern, got the better of them, and they decided to check it out. At first, they couldn't figure out where the sound was coming from, but then they saw it. A window, boarded up tightly with old wooden planks, and that's where the noise was coming from.
It is a ghost.
It's just a wind.
Mate. Must be a ghost.
No, it's a wind.
No, it's a ghost.
Let's go. It's a fucking ghost.
There's nothing else there.
Naturally, the 2 friends were completely baffled. There was no wind at all that day, not even a breeze. And if you watch the clip closely, there's no visible movement inside, no figure behind the planks, nothing that could have caused such a powerful bang. As you can hear in the footage, they're both shaking and quickly come to one eerie conclusion that it had to be something supernatural. It had to be a ghost, or something beyond explanation. But what do you think? Was this the work of something paranormal? Something we simply can't see with our own eyes? Or is there a more grounded explanation hidden somewhere in the shadows? Let me know your theory in the comments, because whatever it was, it definitely wasn't normal. Now, get ready for the next disturbing camping encounter, one that once again proves it's often the unexplainable that turns a peaceful getaway into something truly terrifying. This is Chris, the face behind the YouTube channel Blot Outdoors Show, where he shares his love for everything outdoors. From camping and hiking to lighthearted gear reviews, his videos usually offer a peaceful escape into nature. But being out in the wild isn't always so carefree, and Chris doesn't shy away from showing that darker side. In this particular video, Chris teams up with his friend Mick for what was meant to be another memorable camping trip. This time, they set up on the grounds of an old, abandoned church, a place left to decay since the 1970s. And although they expected it to be a little eerie, nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to experience. It's November 3rd, 2024. After parking their car discreetly down the road, They grab their gear and begin the hike toward the weathered remains of the forgotten church.
Right, folks, let's spend a few little minutes having a mooch around, trying to find the best spot to camp. Like I see, I've been looking on Google Earth and that, and it did look like there was a few spots away from the graves. But we'll have a mooch around now before it's pitch black, so we can manoeuvre around without walking over the top of the graves, if you know what I'm talking about.
Once they find a good spot near the crumbling church ruins, Chris and Mick settle in, crack open a drink, and begin setting up their tent. The mood is relaxed, just two friends gearing up for another night under the stars. By the time their camp is finally ready, the sun has dipped below the horizon, and darkness begins to settle over the area. Despite the heavy stillness in the air and a subtle tension neither of them can quite shake, they stay upbeat, laughing, talking, soaking in the eerie charm of the location. So far, it feels like any of their other outdoor adventures. But what they didn't know is that this night was about to turn into something they'd never forget.
Oi, oi! Okay then, my spam dingoes, time to show you mine and little mix set up for tonight. As you can see, guys, in there, I'm on the left as usual. Right, folks, I've just left little Mick by the tent just for a few minutes to get some footage. The old Nicki Minaj on my camaraderie. Yes. Not be open. Oh shit, it's fucking open. Sorry for the language, folks. I wasn't expecting that. But this will be locked. Whoa. Whoa. Why, what a treat. I wasn't expecting this at all.
Totally surprised by the fact that the church was actually accessible, Chris decided to get Mick and take a look around inside together. This was a whole new level to their adventure, one they hadn't really prepared for, but were excited to explore.
Yeah, well, the person that told me about this place, Kev, he's into like ghostly, what do you call it? You know, when you go to places that's haunted and you're getting like the paranormal readings and all that kind of stuff. He's into all that stuff, and he's done it at loads of different places, and he's done it here. And he said it was one of the most spookiest places he's ever been. He sent us a little video, and you can hear like voices and stuff. I mean, I'm very skeptical and that kind of stuff, so I'm not going to try and condingo use mandingos, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I was on the understanding that every now and again they do open the doors for people to go in, but no way on earth I was expecting the door to be open here on a Saturday night for just anyone, you know, any mandingo to go in, have a look. I think we'll have a few more we'll finish this beer, eh? We'll have a few more shots of rum dingo for a bit Dutch carriage, and then we'll get in there and we'll have a mooch around. I'm not really scared of stuff like that anyway. What about you, Mick?
Nah,
not really
I'm
bothered?
Nah.
I'm always a believer of, what's the saying? It's not the dead that'll hurt you, it's the living. Yeah, we could be in for a spooky night, but like I say, there's going to be no fake shit here on the Blood Outdoor Show. Me and Mick are going to get smash burgered, and probably the only spirits that's going to be flying around tonight is all the rum that me and Mick's going to get smash burgered on.
Both Mick and Chris are skeptics, curious, but far from scared when it comes to the mysteries between the living and the dead. So after a few more drinks by the fire, they decide to head inside the old abandoned church, ready to explore and still treating it like just another part of their adventure. But what they didn't realize was how quickly that excitement would turn into something else entirely.
Comedy gold? That's before you pissed. There you go, guys. You want Go on then, Mick. I don't fall over, son. I thought you were going to say it was locked there with a shitty pants. I'd have had skidamiddies all over me undies. There we go, folks. Yeah. Well, like I say, I'm not scared, and I'm not one of these people that get to shiver up the spine or things like this. To me, it's not spooky, but we'll still have a look around. Alright, isn't it? Cool. Cool place. I wouldn't want to sit here all night, like, but the fuck? The fuck's it? I'm out of here. Sorry, guys. What the fuck was that? Oh, I think Mick's filled his pants. I get skidamiddies on my bedundies. I think Mick's got a lug of a jugger in his only pedandies.
I've got a hole in them, like, hole. Nice big hole.
That's the fastest I've ever seen you run. It was probably, do you know what it probably was? It was just like, it's open, you've probably got like a birds getting in and something's being knocked off or something. I don't know. That's what I'm telling myself, guys. But yeah, like I said, things like that don't normally scare me. But when you hear a bang somewhere like that, and I've been reading about how spooky the place is supposed to be, it does make you heart jump, even if just for like a few seconds. And once Mick legged it, I thought to myself, right, I'm not hanging around here, but I am determined to go back in.
Although they tried to brush off the loud bang, hoping it was just a harmless animal or maybe something shifting in a breeze of wind, it rattled them to their core. Still, they remained skeptical, especially Chris, who was eager to go back in for another look. So after a bit more time around the fire, a few more drinks, and some laughs to ease the tension, they gathered their courage and stepped back inside the dark abandoned church.
Here we go, folks. I've convinced Mick. He's not happy about it, but I've convinced Mick to have one more look inside this so-called haunted church. Go on then, Schmick.
Nah, you ain't got close then.
Well then. Oh well, I'll go on first. Right, Mick, you follow me. I think the first time we came in, I think we just let our imaginations run away with ourselves, which is easy when you're in the pitch black and you're having a few beers. Just leave that door open, Mick. I've got to be honest, it does have a little bit of a spooky kind of feel to it. I said to Mick, we'll have one more look in here and then later on we'll do the room review. Little Mick says, well, we'll have a look around, but we'll do the room review back over there. I've kind of had to persuade him to come back in. Oh, here we go. We've got a photograph of young Chris here. Oh, sorry guys. It's not young Chris. Apologies. It's Jesus Christ. Our the son.
Milky buttons out.
Yeah, milky buttons. What? What the
Holy shit.
what? Mix away. Ooh, shut that door. What the? Right. Guys. Oh. I'm not one of these ones that get scared for shit like that, but that's twice we've been in there and twice I've heard a bad noise. I think Mick's dropped his guts. I think he's filled his pants. It's alright, Mick, I've got some baby wipes in my bag. That was proper dodgy, that like.
Once again, a sudden violent bang echoed through the empty church, jolting Chris and Mick and sending them rushing outside. Now that it had happened again, brushing it off as something harmless was no longer easy. Back outside on the property, the atmosphere instantly felt lighter, calmer. No strange sounds, no lingering tension. But that only made things more confusing. How could something so loud, so forceful, be happening inside a building with no real wind and only one entrance? The same one they had just used. With questions swirling through their minds, the two decided to return to their camp and try to salvage the rest of the night. The safety of the open outdoors was a welcome change from the church's unsettling energy. And luckily, they didn't hear anything strange again. But the banging and whatever caused it stayed in their minds. Was it something natural they simply couldn't explain? Or did something unnatural want them out of that church? Either way, this wasn't just another night in the wild, and it's one they'll be thinking about for a long time to come. And this mystery is just one of many bizarre events caught on camera. Let's take a look at this next chilling clip, one that left viewers not only baffled, but genuinely unsettled. Which comes from the YouTube channel Exploring with Angelo, run by Angelo himself, a passionate adventurer known for diving headfirst into some of the most fascinating and eerie locations around the world. From forgotten buildings with haunted pasts to chilling sites shrouded in legend, Angelo documents each thrilling investigation for his growing audience. In this particular video, he takes us deep into a remote forest, one that locals warn everyone to avoid after dark, a place infamous for its skinwalker legends. Every local knows the stories, and no one dares enter once the sun goes down. But Angelo? He's doing the unthinkable, camping there alone, overnight. And it won't take long before he realizes that might have been a huge mistake. It's December 20th, 2024. After a long hike through snow-covered woods, Angelo is satisfied with just how far he's gotten from civilization. And once he finds the perfect spot to set up camp, he wastes no time, building a fire for warmth and light and making the area as comfortable as he can.
Yeah, I think this spot is more or less perfect. We can actually lie right on top of the snow, which is great. I mean, when we're sleeping anyway. All right, let's do this. Oh yeah, that's lighting real fast. Oh my god, my nose is running like crazy. I don't even have any tissue. I'm gonna have to do some snot rockets soon. Oh, that got me in the worst area possible. Yeah. And it's nice because it's not too windy, so the fire's not like basically blowing right in our faces. Kind of a weird spot, but whatever, it's fine. Okay, actually I think I'm going to move the tent over here. It's kind of in the way, and then I'll just move it back later when we need it. Okay.
With everything set up, Angelo settles in by the fire, warming his hands and sharing some of the chilling stories he's heard about this forest. But as the minutes pass, something starts to shift. The calm of the woods begins to fade, replaced by a creeping sense of unease.
What the hell? Okay, it literally sounded like something just came right towards me. What was that? What was that? What the hell?
A few very distinct footsteps suddenly echoed through the dark woods, fast and heavy, almost as if something or someone was running straight towards Angelo. But as he looked around, he couldn't see anything. For a moment, he just sat there in silence, unsure if what he had heard was real or just the forest messing with his mind. Trying to stay calm, Angelo told himself it was probably nothing. Maybe an animal, or just his imagination getting carried away. Luckily, after that unsettling moment, things seemed to settle down again. The forest returned to its quiet, eerie state, and Angelo, still sitting close to the fire, slowly began to relax again. But just as he started to forget about the strange footsteps and ease back into the peace of the night, another sound emerged.
Okay, we got a couple of beers. Stick those in nature's refrigerator. Just right in the snow. I guess that... Okay. What the hell? Okay, what the hell was that? That was definitely like the weirdest growl or something. I'm still not seeing a single thing.
Maybe it's hard to catch the first time, but if you listen closely, you can hear it. A low, eerie growl echoing from somewhere deep within the woods. Many questions raced through Angelo's mind. Of course, it could have been coyotes, maybe even a lone wolf roaming somewhere in the darkness. But deep down, he knew. This sound didn't match anything he'd ever heard before out in the wild. Still, Angelo tried to stay rational. He told himself it had to be just an animal, nothing more. Something passing by that didn't want anything to do with him. But even as he repeated those thoughts in his head, the uneasy feeling in his gut wouldn't go away.
But I guess to be expected with the carb reduction. That is the second time I've heard that. Now it's down there. What the fuck? There's 100% something out here that's making a really strange noise and I can't quite figure out what the hell it is. You know what? I'm gonna grab the camera. I'm gonna head down there. I have not been down there. I can see there's some old animal tracks, but those clearly have probably been there for a while. Whoa, this is pretty cool. Trying not to fall. Oh yeah, look at that. It actually goes down into this. Whoa, that's a deep drop. I think those are just rocks. I thought I saw something over there. Nothing crazy. All right. What the hell was that? Something literally just came at me. What the? Oh man. Dude, that literally sounded like it was right behind me. That doesn't even make sense. There's no tracks.
No matter how hard Angelo tried to brush it off, to stay calm and collected, the sounds just wouldn't stop. And yet, not once did he see any movement. No glowing animal eyes, no shifting shadows. Nothing. Whatever was making those sounds, it was staying just out of sight, hiding, watching. The tension was unbearable, and although he'd come here determined to brave the night, something in his gut screamed at him to leave. And after a few long moments of hesitation, Angelo finally listened to that instinct. He packed up quickly, leaving the fire behind, and made his way out of the forest, heart pounding, every step haunted by the feeling of being followed. Something in those woods wasn't right. He could feel it in every part of his body. But what was it? Was it just a curious animal? A trick of the mind? Or was it the infamous skinwalker locals whisper about? The one said to prowl these woods after dark? Or maybe it was something else entirely. Something we, the living, weren't meant to understand. What do you think was lurking just beyond Angelo's sight? Let me know in the comments. Now that we ponder on this unsolved mystery, get ready for the next clip. That comes from the YouTube channel you might already be familiar with, Ghost Theory, run by Joe and Elliot, two friends who are no strangers to the mysteries that our world has to offer, known for diving headfirst into the UK's most haunted and unsettling locations. They've taken their audience everywhere, from forgotten castles with tragic pasts to ruins said to be cursed by ancient rituals. With their mission to uncover the dark secrets hiding in places most people wouldn't dare to step foot in. In this video, they're heading into one of their most intriguing leads yet, a tip from one of their viewers. The message spoke of 3 abandoned farmhouses, all sitting close together on the same stretch of land. But it was one of them in particular that stood out. The viewer who sent the tip claimed the energy there was so terrifying that they had to leave before they could even snap a photo. And naturally, Joe and Elliot were hooked. It's April 10th, 2025. As the sun begins to dip behind the horizon, the two friends arrive at the remote location. The moment they step out of the car, they're hit with a strange sense of anticipation. That thick, quiet stillness that always seems to hang over places like this. But they've learned to trust their instincts. And tonight, their instincts are telling them this isn't just going to be any ordinary investigation.
But okay, so this is the house that has been sent, which apparently is so creepy. They couldn't even stay long enough to send us a picture of the stairs. It was the staircase that she found really creepy. And apparently they're a non-believer as well, so they didn't really have a reason to feel that scared.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've just had a really, really bad feeling about that window.
It's a strange one. Now, I don't want to just feel creeped out because we've almost been told that it's creepy. Like, it does kind of put the thought in your head, doesn't it?
It does.
But
it's creepy.
it is actually creepy.
After taking a walk through the building and scoping out the layout, Joe and Elliot decided on a spot to set up their base for the night. And with their gear ready and the sun now fully set, it was time to start the investigation. They chose to begin near the staircase, the exact spot mentioned in the viewer's message. According to her, this was where she felt an overwhelming sense of dread, something so intense it had driven them out of the building before she could even take a photo. And although Joe and Elliot are seasoned investigators who pride themselves on keeping a clear head, they couldn't shake the uneasy feeling creeping in. Still, they tried to brush it off. Maybe it was just the power of suggestion. Maybe the story was playing tricks on their minds.
Okay, so we've just had a really nice conversation with Charmaine, stood in this spot about these stairs and the feeling that we all get from this building. Now, obviously, we're going to have a bit of a vibe from this building because we've kind of been told. So you're always going to get that feeling because other people have said that they've had that feeling. You kind of inherit it from them in some respects. So trying not to be too concerned about it all. But I genuinely believe if we had come here without that story, we would be feeling a bit nervous. Because it is very on that. You can't not look up there.
No.
But I think one of the reasons it makes you feel like that is because it's kind of 2 floors up.
Yes.
And the first thing you think of as a person just being stood right at the very top.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, it's...
That noise is just the curtain on the window, isn't it? And we wondered if we could take your photo, and maybe you could try and speak to us tonight, throughout the night. I've just seen a shadow. Not even, I promise you, I've just seen a shadow.
Yeah,
in the room on the right.
And I've just heard some...
It probably might, I'd imagine it's just a bird. Let's keep these in order.
Yeah. No, what was that noise before then?
I think it was a bird, because then I've then seen a shadow.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the pictures here, and they go from left to right in order of being taken. They haven't fully come out yet. But to be honest, I can't see anything strange on any of them, actually.
No.
Although odd creaks echoed from the floor above, and shadows occasionally flickered just out of sight, Joe and Elliot were careful not to jump to conclusions. As seasoned investigators, they knew better than to call something paranormal without solid evidence. The photos they had taken upstairs didn't show anything unusual, and realistically, the noises could have just been a bird that had found its way inside, flapping through broken windows and old beams. Still, there was a nagging tension in the air that was hard to ignore. Leaving the staircase behind for now, they shifted focus. If something really was lingering here, maybe it was time to try reaching out. Setting up their equipment, they started asking questions, simple ones at first, hoping to spark some kind of response. And just as the last traces of daylight vanished behind the horizon, the atmosphere around them changed.
See, we believe that you're here. Just use as much energy as you can to show yourself, or you don't even have to show yourself, but making a loud, distinctive sound would be amazing.
That was on the stairs.
Fuck yes.
That was 100% on the stairs.
I heard it. Thank you.
Now, we were getting a strange vibe from this place. It genuinely is creepy. Being at the bottom of those stairs gives you a feeling you don't usually get from other places. But the thought had crossed our mind that maybe we were feeling like this because we had almost been told to. Even though she actually said you've got to go there to be creeped out, you have that thought in the back of your mind, and it might just persuade us to feel more creeped out than we would be normally.
But just as we were starting to think about leaving this property and trying one of the other houses on the same land, we heard something that changed our minds, and luckily the Sony camera was still recording.
I don't know where to look. It's so annoying. Because you don't know what you're looking for, do you, when you hear a noise?
No.
We need to go up again.
Do you think it was upstairs?
And that window's still shut. I don't know if you can see it.
The entire vibe in this house was just off. Despite spending the whole night asking questions, setting up equipment, and doing everything they could to communicate with whatever might be lingering inside, Joe and Elliot never received any clear answers. What they did get, however, were strange, unexplainable sounds echoing through the house. Footsteps where there shouldn't be any, soft knocks in empty rooms, and the kind of cold drafts that make your instincts flare up for no obvious reason. The atmosphere only grew more uncomfortable as the hours passed. It wasn't fear exactly, but a heavy, unshakable feeling that they weren't entirely alone. But by the time the first birds began to sing and the sky slowly lightened, they were exhausted, drained, and admittedly a little disappointed. There were no dramatic moments, no undeniable proof, just that lingering feeling in their bones that something about this place wasn't right. So they packed up their gear, said their goodbyes to the building, and left the property behind, for now. But not forever. Joe and Elliot both agreed this location wasn't done with them yet. There was something buried in that silence, something just out of reach, and they would definitely return to try again. But what do you think? Was this just a night full of creaky floorboards and nesting animals? Or was something watching them from the shadows, choosing to stay silent? For now. Let me know in the comments below. Last but not least, we've now come to the 6th chilling camping encounter of this video. That comes from the YouTube channel Haunted Finders, run by Tom, a dedicated investigator of the paranormal who has made it his mission to explore the thin, shifting line between the living and the dead. Through his eerie adventures, Tom aims to capture the most compelling supernatural encounters on camera and share them with the world. He's often joined by his close friend David, who's no stranger to these unsettling experiences and stands by Tom on many of his investigations. And in this particular clip, the two have chosen to return to a place that had haunted them for a long time, Sherwood Forest, a location steeped in folklore and whispered legends, but more importantly, the very place where they had a terrifying experience the last time they visited. That night had shaken them to their core, yet also sparked a deeper curiosity that never quite let go. And so, after months of hesitation, Tom and David made the decision to go back, this time determined to uncover the truth behind the strange events they had previously encountered. It's June 26th, 2020. The pair have been deep in the forest for hours already, their ghost hunting equipment constantly active as they try to make contact. But for most of the evening, the woods remained quiet. No significant activity. No signs that anything was near. It was starting to feel like a dead end. But just as they were heading back toward their campsite, half discouraged and ready to call it a night, that's when it started. From deep within the trees around them, sounds began to echo. The forest, once still, had begun to stir. And Tom and David realized that maybe they weren't as alone out there as they had thought.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that? Did you hear that?
What the flip
Did
was
you
that?
capture that?
What was it?
Somebody running or
It wasn't.
growling or something. It was like that.
That was directly behind me.
Come towards us. What was that?
Owl.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's an owl in the distance. Nothing. That was like a sigh.
Tom and David had come here in search of the paranormal, hoping to capture evidence of the other side. But as the unsettling noises grew louder and more erratic, a creeping doubt began to settle in. They weren't sure anymore if what they were dealing with was something supernatural or something else entirely. Whatever it was, it had changed the mood in an instant. That familiar rush of adrenaline surged through them both, not just from fear, but from the realization that this night had taken a very real turn. They had come here chasing the thrill of the unknown, and now they had found it.
It went. That were me. That were me. That were me.
No! Not that! The movement to the side of me.
Yeah, that's what I had. But it went like sort of. And then when
Not that. I just heard movement though on the ground, like footsteps here.
my ears popping like that.
Hey,
My ears popping.
there's something around us now. It's coming closer. Whatever it is, it's coming closer.
Yeah, come on then.
Come on, do something else if you're here. Oh. Oh. Was that? What
Yeah.
was that? It sounded like something threw something in the tree.
Yeah, somebody.
It's like it's circling us. It came from this direction then. The camera's gone out of focus. What the flip was that? What the flip was that? Where am I running towards? Where am I going?
Get back here.
Oh, jeez. David, I don't know where I'm running.
Yeah, that. Sorry.
What was it? It was, I heard like a... like that sort of
I
noise.
did it. Right in my ear hole.
Jesus, I ran towards the noise. I ran towards the noise and then realised where I was running.
It was like Abbott Costello then.
Oh my god, that was scary.
How did you pick that up?
After this unsettling moment, the forest fell into an almost unnatural silence. Every branch seemed quiet, every sound swallowed by the night. So, feeling drained and overwhelmed, Tom and David eventually made their way back to camp. Luckily, the exhaustion of the day overtook their nerves, and they managed to fall asleep without further disturbances. But even as they rested, the questions continued to echo in their minds. What had been moving through those woods? Was it truly something paranormal? A wild animal? Or perhaps something far stranger? Something that slips through the cracks of what we understand. Whatever it was, it remained hidden in the shadows of Sherwood Forest. And maybe that's for the best. Now that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these horrifying clips, subscribe to my channel and click to see more on the video on screen.